beautiful black cherries. Hi guys, how you doing? I'm just having something to eat, just working on the lava stones. Beautiful. They should be up tomorrow. I'll do a video on them. Very, very interesting crystal and a great time for them as well at the moment. How are you all doing? Just checking. Yeah, cherries, beautiful. Every now and again I like some black cherries. How are you all doing, guys? Welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Beautiful day. The top I'm wearing today is, as you can see, a lot of people's favorites. Yes, see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. We don't like the word evil, but it's an interesting topic, and a lot of people always ask me, you know, about this perception of life, of how we should behave, how we should act. What is interaction? What is it all about? What is life all about? And it's really interesting because a lot of the times as a psychic and sat with my clients, most of the issues that occur in our daily life is knee-jerk reaction, confrontation, the fighting back. We call it triggers. There are many different words you would use, but things that would really get us so angry that we just instantly fire back. And that fire back energy is, to me, it's a form of a defense mechanism because we've been hurt because of whatever actions has happened to us as a child. So, like for me, I get triggered when people talk down to me. And the reason why is they're not really talking down to me. It's just that I hear that they're talking down to me. And the reality is they're not. But when I think I'm hearing that, I instantly go to my memory, and my memory goes back to my childhood, as every single teacher said I was thick, stupid, idiot, I'd never get anywhere in life, you're a bum, you're a waste of energy. And that triggers me to say, no, I'm not. And as a kid, it was very difficult for me to say, no, I'm not. And it was very difficult for me because when I was kicked out of the classroom because I couldn't read, it was true, I couldn't read. So they equated the equivalent energy of, well, because you can't read, you're a dummy. So it was like a brainwashing for me. So now when I get older, if anybody, you know, if I see a post that somebody puts up or somebody says that person can't even spell correctly, it triggers a mechanism in me that gets defensive and wants to fight back or argue back or put my point across to say, no, that's not right. And then I'm triggered. So how do we dispel this notion that we always have to have ammunition? We have to be in that energy of confrontation, that you're wrong and I'm right. Well, to be honest, we have to really focus on ourselves, not on the people who are getting us angry, because in truth, our reaction is our issue. And whatever is happening with it, with us, because of that reaction, is something that we need to work on. And you might think, oh, what a load of rubbish. If they didn't say that to me, then I wouldn't be triggered. Well, you know, people say a lot of things to you and you're not triggered. And people say a lot of things to other people that they've just said to you and are triggered. So it's not about that. It's about how we can improve and raise our vibration, raise our understanding spiritually, and obviously that's going to help on an emotional level. And obviously once we heal on an emotional level through the silly things that we're triggered by, then all of a sudden we can now bring peace and tranquility, happiness, and a deeper understanding of what the hell has happened to me as a child. And wow, I really went through the wars with the emotional torture and torment of my family, my friends, my teachers, and so on. Once you are able to look at yourself and say to yourself, okay, why am I triggered by this? And look at why am I triggered, just like I did. Then you can then start to work on that. Lots of people talk about healing the inner child. But for me, it's not as much as healing the inner child, but actually trying to come to terms with what happened and why it happened, and trying to eliminate those first initial reaction to fight back and get angry. And how do you heal that? Yes, spiritual healing is beautiful. And it does work. And I think a mixture of using your mind and creating the understanding of how we can eliminate that by, I guess, common sense, that if we look at not look at what they did to you as a child, like me. I don't look at the teachers because they were just idiots, because that's all they knew. Their understanding of life was, well, what makes you clever and a genius is that you can read and understand things by your memory. So they didn't actually look at the whole purpose of a child's life, and not every child has that amazing memory. Not every child has gifts that they can read comfortably in a class and stand up and be confident. So that's their idiotic brainwashing by the system. So I don't blame them at all. So what do I need to heal from that situation? Because we're all idiots, we're all brainwashed every now and again, and we all react and say things which is ridiculous because of our past understanding, belief systems and programming. So we have to unlearn all of those things. We have to learn to step back and look at how we behave and why we behave like that, our reactions, to be able to fix any given situation with our life and to be a better person to the people that we love and care for and to ourselves. So one way is looking at the situation and kind of analysing it and ask, well, was that really personal? Well, no, it wasn't personal. It wasn't an attack on me. It was an attack on what I couldn't do. But you would say, well, that is an attack on you. Well, maybe so, but like I said, these people are trained to only know one thing, and that's all they knew. So, I don't feel sorry for them. I forgive their actions. I forgive them, but maybe not their actions so much. I like, you know what? You did what you did. It's okay, and don't focus on that too much. But now, what do I do to heal from that? What do I need to do to heal from that? How do I stop reacting in that way because of my past? Which is a real challenge for so many of us. And so many go to see gurus, so many go to healing sessions, and they still flip back and react in that way. Well, if you look at life, if I was to kind of like do something every day, the same thing, like a rabbit does a run every day, the same run. If I take that same rabbit and then say you're going on a different run, it would take that rabbit a long time to, first of all, accept the other run, trust it, and know it's okay, and know it's just as nice as any other run. And so it takes our mental capacity time to adjust to any situation. So when we're trying to adjust to become a better person, because all we ever do is react to a certain situation that hits us, like my reaction, I have to learn to not react, and I have to learn to know that these people don't mean what they're saying. These people aren't saying anything negative and awful, and they're not being demeaning. They're not being, sarcastic. They're not trying to pull me down. And a lot of the times, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. Bite your tongue and do this. It takes a lot of effort, but it can be done. And you would say, well, okay, you've said you have to think about it, and that's one of the things. And the other thing is healing yourself. But what is healing, and how does healing actually help with these triggers that we have? Well, my feeling is this. Imagine you've got a muscle in your head, which is extremely powerful. And the more powerful you are, the more loving, the more assertive you are, the more sensitive you are, the more kind you are, the more you're triggered by these interactions with your family and your loved ones, your partners, and this reaction that triggers you. Imagine that every time you do something to heal yourself, what you're doing is creating a loving and beautiful energy which is more protective and more powerful around that muscle. So anytime something bad happens, it takes a little bit more to penetrate because of this energy of power around this muscle. So if you're feeling weak, you're feeling bad, your immune system's low, you don't feel good, all of a sudden that energy disappears and now you've got a very sensitive and very sore muscle that anything that is said attacks to that muscle, and then you get really upset and then you react. So what we have to do, this is what I do, is I work on myself daily to make myself happier and stronger, right? So not as much focus on what triggers me, but how can I heal that sensitivity? So thus what I do is do meditation, give myself nice things, give myself time, work on myself, treat myself, and give myself self-worth, and always do the meditation where I am a beautiful soul. I do have gifts, but in a different way, and they're more powerful. And just because I can't read properly, just because I'm not educated, that shouldn't be an issue and disrupt my beautiful life, and to the point where I tip over the edge and fall out with people. Now, it's taken a long time. It's taken me many years. But when I started the spiritual path, I started realizing that I am gifted in different ways. I am sensitive, and all of that sensitivity I used in a very, very profound way to help others. So I realize now, finally, I realize after these few years that if it wasn't for me being not that person with the great brain, not that person who can memorize everything, I could never have been the psychic, the healing, the spiritual teacher, the spiritual reader that I am, because I needed all of that not having a powerful memory. Because if I had a powerful memory and I remembered every single thing, I'd go crazy doing this work. I needed to let it go. I didn't need to think about it. I didn't need to listen to people's pain and suffering. I just heard it, went in, and then left and did my work and said goodbye and went home, and it didn't affect me at all. So what I was finding is that I was the perfect channel to do the work that maybe a person who's super intelligent, super accurate with writing and punctuation, that couldn't do the work I did. So I started realizing, yes, I am not that person, but you know what? I'm not that person because I could never be the person that I am. So now all of a sudden I'm starting to realize I'm coming to terms with the fact that maybe I wasn't born for that. Maybe that was the whole point of all of this, and maybe I should take that as a blessing, as a thank you that I'm not that person to be who I am, to be able to perform the work that I do now. So now all of a sudden I'm putting the pieces together that, okay, well, maybe it's not about having to, figure out why they did this and why I react to that, but more about what my path is about and why I am not that memory that many people are, that amazing punctuation and English literature, genius and mathematical genius and all of those things, because I have an empty space in my mind. It's empty and clear, ready to digest all the beautiful energy, the emotions, the feelings of other people. That if your mind's so full, it's like a cup of water, right, full, bursting over, and the water's pouring. That, guys, is like your mind. Your memory is so powerful that it's like bursting over with water, whereas my mind, my dear friends, is like an empty cup. But only an empty cup can be filled with beautiful things to acknowledge and understand life. But yours is full. You can't put anything else in that cup because you're over brimming, you're overflowing with this memory of all that you've got stuck in your mind. So now I'm realizing that, wow, this now all makes sense. So now I understand more. I am in acceptance more of my gift and not a weakness. It was exactly perfectly how it should be. So now I put the question to you. What makes you upset? Why do you get angry with your partner? Why do you get upset with your mum and dad? Why do your children upset you at certain times? Why do you react to your friends when they say a certain thing that triggers you? So if you follow the steps that I've just given you and ask yourself, what makes you so special and loving for the reason why you react to something that actually is a blessing? So you might get something out of this, you might not get anything out of it, but what I'm trying to tell you is this. I think the most important thing to reacting against the energy of fear and feeling belittled or, I don't know, pride or ego or the fear of the memory of what happened to you as a child, I believe that the most important thing sometimes is to just keep your mouth shut. Step back, breathe, walk away, sit down and ask yourself, why am I reacting like this? Now, a lot of you will say, like I said earlier, well, if they didn't speak to me like that, I wouldn't react like that. I'm normally happy during the day. Nobody upsets me, but you upset me every time. That's a great excuse for us. We can use that often, right? And we do. But really, we really need to look at ourselves and say, you know what? If we want to be the most powerful, spiritual, and enlightened soul who lives in peace and harmony to be free from illness, we have to tackle the weakest link that is within our trigger points, the moments where we react. And, you know, be honest with yourself, you react the same way to many situations that are very, very similar. So it might be your mum that you always react to. These are the things that we need to tackle to become stronger than. That's what the whole point of spiritual growth is. We grow from not being a reactive, angry, screaming, shouting, which we all do. We all react. We all get upset. We have to let off. We have to vent that energy. But what is it that makes us suppress this energy and get angry so fast? And why and how do we tackle that? What do we need to look at to adjust that, to heal from that, to work from that? I've talked about acceptance so many times, and acceptance is a very powerful thing. However, if we're still reacting to a certain situation, then you're not really fully in the acceptance energy, right? I think full acceptance means that you actually don't fear it, it doesn't bother you anymore, you're completely dissolved of that energy. And I think if you're able to say you've done that, then good for you, that's amazing, tell us how. But for us who do struggle when, one of my fears as well is, a lot of you know, I was attacked so many times through my life with abuse, many different types of abuses, mocking and all that, and I've got stronger and stronger and stronger, so it doesn't affect me like it used to do. But being honest, it affects us all when we are spoken to in a derogatory and an awful manner. How I've tackled that, as most of you already know, is I realise that anybody who attacks us in their own way is basically a mirror image for what they are, who they are, and how they behave. Their ridiculousness, their sadness, their angers, their fears, and they just vent it out on you. So we have to try and understand that, yes, people are venting their stuff and they're angry at maybe us, and then we react to them and they react to us, but it takes a stronger person not to react. It takes the bigger person to stand back and ask ourselves what is happening here, why this is happening, and how I can make a difference in my life and other people as well. Because sometimes we can react to people and make them react to us. So I think throughout life, we have to learn how to be observant. We have to learn to look at ourselves and to appreciate that other people do suffer as well. And we have to acknowledge that. I'm not saying walking around on eggshells, but I am saying that a highly evolved spiritual soul is somebody who learns to balance their life and help people heal from their issues too. So I think telling people that they're beautiful, that they're strong, they're powerful, you're an amazing soul, is just a few healing words that helps them overcome the pain and the suffering that they've gone through. And maybe just those few words they've never heard before. Nobody's ever said them words to them. So you're helping healing them. At the same time, you look at your own life and say the same thing to yourself. It's so easy to say it to others, but to ourselves it's always a challenge, right? And we must look in the mirror and say it to ourselves. We must tell ourselves that we are special. But we need to take time for that. We need to sit down, meditate, look at ourselves, look at certain situations as a child, what we've been through, what we've done, and how powerful and quite amazing we are as kids, and how we've grown up to this moment like you, and what you've been through and how you've tackled that on your own, how you've dealt with your own emotions, because schools don't teach us emotions. Schools don't teach us how to live life, and you've had to be your own teacher. So be proud of who you are. Be proud of all of those things. Don't beat yourself up if you're somebody who knee-jerks and gets upset. Just accept it, look at it and say, I need to work on that. And hopefully through this video, you might get a few key points that might be able to help you the next time you're sat down or the next time you're going to bite somebody's head off. And then you go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. But you know, sometimes the best thing to do, and I work on that daily, is to stand back, breathe, let it go, and that moment passes. And you know, it really does pass. And then you look at yourself thinking, I'm glad I didn't react, you know, and you know, you work on that. And I think that's it, guys, today. I wanted to share a little message with you. I wanted to have a black cherry with you, and I wanted to say thank you for loving the oils. Thank you for buying the 8 oils. Thank you for all your orders yesterday. We're going to do a lot of videos on these oils, and we're going to work on that inner child with at least 2 or 3 of the oils. We're going to start to work with the oils together, because I don't know if you know, I don't think I've ever really discussed this yet, but we will work on it. I like to mix the oils as well, so sometimes I'll work on 3 different levels and work with 3 different oils, and we'll work on that as well. And it's going to be a great and wonderful progression now towards healing our life and working on ourselves. I'm going to do many videos of, you know, just little conversations that might trigger something with you that help you become the stronger and most beautiful soul that you already are. Bear in mind that you are a beautiful soul in all shape and form. There's nothing wrong with you at all. Nothing. The only thing that you're working on is basically from being born up to this moment. You have had to go through so many things. You have felt so many things. You have so much trapped emotion in you, like I have, that we are spending now, this part of our life, how to heal from that. Because we're kind of like punch bags when we're children. We kind of go through and we think we can cope with all of this stuff, and we do really well to cope with it all. But I think as we get older, we're like a bit like a car. You know, you buy a brand new car, it gets hit to the left, it gets hit to the right, it gets hit to the center. And after so many times, that car gets hit so many times that it just falls and breaks. It can only get hit so many times. And I think a lot of us are a little bit like that now. And now it's our time to take that car and stick it in the garage and get it all fixed and polished up, looking beautiful. And that's where we are now, all of us. And I think that's what we're working on at this moment. We're working on every bump, every knock. And that's part of the journey, the divine journey that we're on. And if you're watching this now, you are definitely healing and becoming stronger. So from my heart to yours, have a beautiful day, whatever you're doing, guys. Thank you for going to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Thank you for going to markbajerski.com and buying your incense sticks, oils and crystals. Thank you for trusting in me. I'm just now working on, I think, 22 lava stones now, so they should be on the website tomorrow. I think you're going to love them, and I'll do a video tomorrow about how amazing these are at this moment in time. Okay guys, thanks a lot. Take care from a beautiful sunny Mijas Pueblo. From my heart to yours, take care of yourself, guys. Bye.